Anywhere that's on the front line for European defence, it is the Baltics. And with that in mind, Aneta's got a great guest.
Yes, exactly. I'm now joined by the Foreign Minister of Latvia, Baiba, Braže, and we need to talk, of course, about the security in that region. So thank you very much for joining. You've been calling for 5% NATO defense spending. So how's the situation for you in the Baltics on the ground?
The 5% for defense spending was decided by all allies together at the Hague summit. Of course, there is a time to reach that. But I think by July, when we have the next NATO summit in Ankara, we should be able to demonstrate progress. So in our case, we took it very seriously. So our spending is 4.9 something percent, but it will be 5% by the end, so that we have decided in our coalition. And the same also for Poland, other Baltic states, and also quite a number of Nordics are going straight up. So we, of course, welcome German government's decision also to increase their defense spending, allocate support for Ukraine. And why we need that is because we all have identified Russia as the most significant threat to Euro-Atlantic security. So it's not just because we need percentages, but because we need to address that threat. And that means conventional capabilities, whether it's tanks, long-range fires, precision strikes, but it also means we have to get our industries going. So the production, the dual use, the technology superiority, so that all requires countries to invest, but also to produce.
Yeah, we talk a lot as well about the defense line on the eastern flank, and it's of course in the Baltics, not far away from you. So how do you feel that development going?
So Norway, Finland, Baltic states, Poland, and further south, Romania, Bulgaria, we are all on the geographic proximity to Russia and to Ukraine, but also to certain tensions that we notice are in the sea and the sky connected to Russia. But in the same time, we are all on front line, because what we have seen here in Germany are various hybrid attacks, attempts of sabotage, attempts of killing people, and sometimes actual killings of opposition leaders of Russia and so on. And in the same time, we have seen in the UK the Skripal attacks, the efforts at undermining UK's security internally from various disinformation attacks and other activities. So we have to know that we are all on the front line. So it's not only conventional warfare, but also sub-conventional warfare, so-called hybrid. That is all part of Russia's warfare doctrine, and that's what they are conducting against us. Sub-conventional is cheaper, like cyber attacks. You know, you can hire criminals, cyber criminals, or you can embed certain malware in certain critical infrastructure. But that is all part of the warfare doctrine. And the objective is, of course, to divide allies, to divide us internally, to make decision-making much more difficult on defense or on support to Ukraine, spread narratives such as, oh, why do we give something to Ukraine if we need that for pensioners, which is a fake dilemma. We need to do both. So it's a conscious objective of Russia to try to conduct these sub-conventional warfare activities against us.
How dangerous is it, in your mind, that the discussions are more or less taking place between the US and Russia, and especially have economic aspects at the heart of the discussion? So do you feel that Europe is neglected?
Our conviction is that Europe has to be at the table in the conversations between Ukraine, US and Russia, because of course there are very strong interests by Europe that are involved, and nobody else but Europe decides for Europe. So whatever they can agree or not, if Europe is not at the table, if Europe is not deciding on it, it's not going to happen. So Europe has to be at the table and part of decision making.
Let me ask you about your real experience in the Baltics, because we are hearing a lot about GPS jamming, cyber incidents really happening also across the Baltic Sea. So what is happening?
We have been very clear that there's a lot of responsibility on ourselves to make sure our critical infrastructure is robust, that we are prepared for various crisis scenarios. So we are testing, preparing constantly. But in the same time, also, there has to be hard conventional capabilities in the sea, in the air, on the ground. So since NATO decided on its Eastern Sentry operation in the skies, and since NATO decided on the Baltic Sentry mission in the sea, we haven't had those accidents by the ships or by the drones. So it's also this very clear signal to Russia that this is deterrent, so you cannot act so irresponsibly and threaten everyone. But of course, whether it's drone sighting, remember in Copenhagen before the big summit, whether it's here in Germany, remember with the Post, Deutsche Post, and all types of other threats against the Rheinmetall's boss, this is all part of the same activity package. So we have to be first ourselves aware, prepared, test, prepare. Don't exclude any scenarios.
But you're telling me as well that there's progress. So once NATO is doing something, then Russia is looking and as well saying, okay, we will not cross that border. Is that the case?
Absolutely. And we shouldn't be bigging Russia up. I mean, it's really stretched in the sea. Look in the Mediterranean, where they have lost the ability to use Tartus de facto. Look at the Black Sea, where Ukrainians have pushed them away. The Baltic Sea, where NATO has placed additional assets, the North Sea. So, Russia is not so strong and not so huge and not so almighty, because we are strong and we are richer and we are more capable. So we just have to be very self-conscious that this is something that is going to last, and we have to do what we have to do.
We need to leave it there with a very positive message. Good luck here at the Munich Security Conference.